Hello everyone, and it's nice to see you again. Ciao. Okay, so today we're going to talk about my top 5 redeemed fictional characters. Basically, the 5 characters which I liked which were redeemed in their fictional stories, which is TV shows or video games or just basically anything fictional. And talk about what I liked about them, which I found interesting about the redemption stories. Okay, so number 5, Norman Osborn, Ultimate Spider-Man, the Iron Patriot. Okay, so now, here's a little toy of the Iron Patriot, which was Norman Osborn. So basically, you may know about Ultimate Spider-Man was a cartoon series done by Disney XD, and it's still on today. In fact, it's done four serials, and that's actually kind of impressive in my opinion. I mean, it's the only series I think that comes close to the famous 90s Spider-Man, but you know which one I'm talking about. That one was fantastic. Basically, if you know about Norman Osborn, you may know that he was the Green Goblin and possibly a very massive bad guy in Spider-Man's life. However, let's talk about him in this TV show. In this TV show, he's pretty much the same douche as he was. However, in one episode, Season 2 Second Chance Hero, he was cured of the Green Goblin disease and decided to try to make up for his past acts as the Iron Patriot, which is basically a fusion of Captain America and Iron Man put together. But you see, in this episode, granted he does go evil later and back to the Green Goblin, and it's kind of a dick in Season 4. However, what I liked about Second Chance Hero was because I felt like he really did want to have a second chance as a character. The reason why is because he has been a bad dad to his son, and he a major villain to Spider-Man for trying to steal his blood. However, in this, I kind of felt he really did want to make up for his past mistakes. He knew he did wrong. He knew he did wrong in this episode. He knew he did bad things, and I just liked he was trying to make up for it, trying to become a better dad, trying to interact with more of Harry's friends. Yeah, I know he does go evil later, but still, for one episode, I felt I could believe he wanted to make up for his past acts. Now, number 4. My number 4 character, which I found which was worth redemption, the Princess of the Moon herself, Princess Luna. I love stroking her. If you've seen My Little Pony, you would know that you know the story of Nightmare Moon. Basically, the young sister, Princess Luna, Princess of the Night, gets jealous of her older sister, Princess Celestia, for getting more attention than her since ponies see her in the day. And for that, Princess Luna kind of goes astray and becomes the evil Nightmare Moon. However, in the first episodes of My Little Pony, the main 6, Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, and Fluttershy, are able to save her and turn her back into Princess Luna. At first, nothing much is seen about her character in the first episode, knowing that she just felt upset over the fact she was Nightmare Moon. But in the episodes, in Season 5, we actually see her struggle with her demons, such as she's trying to face this nightmare of her own, trying to make herself punish herself for her acts as Nightmare Moon, and I find that believable because that is depression. That is straight down depression. When you're feeling that bad about yourself and wanting to redeem yourself in that kind of way, you feel that kind of heartache, a heartache that you feel you need to be guilty, you need to be punished for what you did. I believe she deserved redemption in this because Luna understands what it means to be bad, and she understands regret and sorrow and trying to make up for these acts. And she does. She beats her nightmare, and she helps everyone, such as helping the Cutie Mark Crusaders get over their fears, and also being just generally a good princess, and reclaiming and rediscovering her relationship with her older sister. So therefore, number Princess Luna, you are the best.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, number 3, Beelzemon, aka Impmon from Digimon Tamers Season 3. Now, when I love Digimon, in fact, it's on my shirt. Digimon's like my number 1 favorite thing in the world. But let's talk about Impmon. When Impmon first came into the series, he was just a little bit of a little turd, really. A little bit of a lamprick to Guilmon's Pinocchio. He was just angry with everyone, liked teasing everyone, just caused a lot of havoc. When in reality, he was just trying to fight off memories of having bad tamers. When in actually, and he just had enough of being abused by his past tamers, he decided to go out on his own, trying to prove he doesn't need tamers to digivolve. And after getting a massive beating from one of the sovereigns, he just had enough. And then until he met one of them, and offered him a way to digivolve, all he had to do was just go back to the digital world, and then they would digivolve him. And of course he agreed, it was a good offer. But when he digivolved to Beelzemon, he became different. Like, he still had that kind of bad nature, but it was taken to a new whole level. As a Mega, he was invincible, he shot people, he was just incredibly strong. And when the good tamers were finally able to find Calamon's prison cell, Beelzemon there was waiting for them, and he gave them a fight of their life. But the one thing which was memorable about that episode was Leomon's death. Beelzemon just had enough of listening to the lectures and just went and he just stabbed Leomon in the chest. And that was so sad. I mean, Leomon's died 3 times. One at Adventure, one again in Tamers, and again in Digimon Adventure Tri. But out of the 3, this was the saddest one, since you saw how affected his tamer was, Jerry. It was a sad episode. But what happened next was his battle with Gallantmon. Gallantmon was prepared to strike him down, but Jerry told him not to do it. Like, she admitted she hated Beelzemon for what he did, but she didn't want him any more killing. And after that kind of left Beelzemon with a mind struggle. He just became really depressed and unsatisfied with what he was doing. I mean, that's what depression does. Regret. It makes you feel strange about yourself. It makes you feel you can't work with anything. And soon he just blankly gave up and let the Digimon eat him, which digivolved him back to Impmon. But he was rescued by Rika and Renamon and taken back to the human world. But after that, he was different. He tried to get back to his old antics, but he just couldn't. He just couldn't work anymore. But soon after reconciling with his past tamers, he slapped himself in the face and realized, I need to save Jerry from the D-Reaper. I need to make it up for her. And that's what I liked about Impmon, because he was just a little bit scroogey little thing, and which turned into a mega badass. But in the end, the regret and depression he was showing, I believe, made him believable. This was a character which deserved redemption. So, Impmon, Beelzemon, you're number 3. Now it's time for number 2. My second fictional favorite redemption character is Prince Zuko of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, hands down, Avatar: The Last Airbender is probably one of the best anime shows, not just in our time, but probably in the world. The animation is beautiful, the voice acting is incredible, it's hands down amazing. But let's talk about Prince Zuko. At first, when you see Prince Zuko, you just think he's just an average bad guy, scarred, humiliated, he just wants to get back at the world. However, you notice something in Season 2, we find out some of his story. It turns out he actually had a bad childhood. His mother left without him. His mother left him, and he had no idea why. His sister was a complete narcissist to him, and his own father scarred him on the face. And Zuko was probably someone you'd think would kill himself with that kind of childhood. but he wanted to prove himself because he cared about his honor, which was both his strong and at the same time weak point. What made it strong was that his honor let him fight those three big earthbender bullies at that village. And granted when he revealed who he was, it was not so good, but still, because of his honor, he was able to do that. However, it worked against him when he was in that season 2 final, when he teamed up with Azula against Aang and Katara. I remember so many fan reactions to that. So many people were ticked with him. Because we got so much build up about his character. He spends it with just going back to the bad guys. I remember like, dude, they don't love you. They just want to use you. They don't care whether you live or die. And we kind of see that in season 3, when he finally has gotten everything he wants. He's the prince of an empire. He's got an army. He's got land. But in the end of the day, he's not satisfied. He feels guilty for betraying his uncle. And that guilt is edging on him. And then in the mid-season, he decides to try to make amends by joining the Avatar. At first, things aren't so good since the Team Avatar don't trust him. But in each separate episodes, he does make it up to them. He does make it up to Aang, Katara, Sokka, and everyone. And in the end, he becomes the Emperor of the Fire Nation, and he's able to let go of his past and start a fresh new life without his father or sister's negativeness affecting him. So that's why he earns number 2. Now, before I go to my number 1 redeemed character, let me talk about some of my honorable mentions. Starscream from Transformers Armada, Tommy the Green Ranger from Power Rangers Mighty Morphin, and who else? Kovu from Lion King 2. Those are my honorable mentions. But as my number 1 redeemed favorite character would have to be Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker. Now, Darth Vader is hands down probably one of the best movie villains ever made in fictional history. He's terrifying. I would rather not be in a room with him because chances are he's going to kill me. He's the space Hitler. Everything you'd be terrified about. And granted, I know the prequels made him look like a bit of a wuss, and I can say that, but I don't blame the actors. I've seen Hayden Christensen in some other films, and he's a good guy. I wouldn't put him down. I wouldn't put his character down because of the acting. But I would like to. But let's look at the prequels, the comics, and of course the famous TV show Clone Wars. In the prequels, we see him as a young and ejected boy who has a bigger future, like his son and Rey from Force Awakens. But then a Jedi mentor comes in and frees him because he believes he's there for a higher purpose. Later on, Anakin and his master Obi-Wan begin to develop a friendship, and soon Anakin becomes a good Jedi Knight. However, he becomes troubled with his order. First off is by his order not telling him about a secret mission involving his master dressing like a bounty hunter, and then his apprentice got framed for a crime, and seeing how the order was willing to abandon her, it affected his judgment. But then his doubts were finally put together when they asked him to spy on the Chancellor. Now, when he found out the Chancellor was a Sith, he was ready to kill him. However, he still had doubts on whether the order were good or not, and so the Chancellor was able to play on him, and he did all those killings, and yeah, he became bad. And then later he donned the suit of Darth Vader, and boy did he get depressed. Like Starkiller, Ahsoka, the Sith Inquisitors, he became a hard tyrant, and probably someone you could never really stand up against too. However, that all changed in one comic called The Skywalker Strikes. In this comic, Darth Vader learns Luke was his son, and through a series of events, Darth Vader wanted to get his son into the dark side. However, his son wanted to get to the light side. And this is why I like Luke as a character, because Luke, despite all the bad things Vader did to him, Luke still loved his father, and he wanted to try to get him back to the light. And Luke Luke actually was able to do this, and Vader was able to redeem himself by killing the Emperor and saving his son from the death grip. But sadly, due to the amount of electricity, Vader died from too much electricity, and he passed on to the next life. But he died giving his son and daughter the best. Now, a lot of people think Vader doesn't deserve redemption for all the killings he did, but however, let's look at two other characters. Let's look at Sarge Ventress from Clone Wars. She technically killed a lot of people, like those clone babies on her attack on Kamino, and yet she still got redemption. And then there's Bo-Katan. Yes, she did get redeemed by helping Obi-Wan against Death Watch, but remember, she did take part in that village slaughter in season 4, so she kind of also is on the same level as Darth Vader. So if they get redeemed despite their murders, then Vader should also get the redemption despite the murders he's done. You can't have that thing while letting another thing go on. So that's why Vader's my favorite redeemed character, because he's pretty much the prodigal father. Because his friends didn't give up on him, his son loved him, and because of that, he was able to redeem himself back to the light side and complete the prophecy. Until his grandson took over, but that's another story. And well, that's my favorite top 5 characters. If you have your own opinion, please leave a comment, and I'll see you next time with another top 5. Again, any suggestions are open. Bye bye.